Well, hi, everybody. It's Carla Archer with Helping You Work on Your Wellness. And I got to say that one thing that I really love about having a home based business is all the amazing people that I get to meet and connect with. And so many of these people I would never meet or connect with otherwise. And today I have a very special guest here, and her name is Donna Pawchuk. And she is a teammate of mine with our home based businesses. Hi, Donna. How are you?
Hi, I'm great, thanks.
Great. Now, Donna and I have had the special pleasure, like a lot of my teammates, we maybe don't get to see each other in other than in video or something. But Donna and I have been to a few shows together. She's had me to her home. We've been to some events and we've been to some big corporate events. So it's been a lot of fun to get to know Donna, hang out with her. She's a blast. And I'm so excited to have her here today to talk to us because not only is she a teammate of mine in a home-based business, but she also owns Systems Beauty College. So she's here today to tell us a little bit more about her college, about her background, and she's going to help us with some tips to deal with our self-isolation hairdos as some of us progress into the need of having a trim, a cut, questioning about color and whatnot. So take it away, Donna.
Hi, thanks, Carla. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So I have worked in education of hairstyling for about 30 years now. I've been a hairstylist for a little more than that. And I have owned this school now for, I guess I'm in my 11th year. Before that, I was just managing, the education for another lady. But it's all been really good. One of the neatest things we have is an online hairstyling program. So we are still able to run at this time. I've transferred in-school students to online, and I've been able to start out students online as well because the program is already in place. So I've been very fortunate to have that program, and it is an accredited program.
Excellent. Very good. And then somebody from any location would be able to take your courses through Systems Beauty College without physically having to be there.
That's right. We do require 2 months of on-campus training.
Okay.
So I do have access to the university's residence for people when they come. If they don't find something personally, they can stay at the university residence and they do their in-school portion. So they always have somewhere that they can still stay.
Excellent. That's a great option. I didn't know that that was even something that people could do. So perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're here today to tell us a little bit and to help us with our self-isolation hairdos. They're starting to get to us. So what are some of your tips that you would have for us today to help manage during this self-isolation time?
Right. So it is tough. Hair's getting longer. Everybody wants to take out those scissors and cut. So I don't necessarily recommend that. Again, at the end, I will show you a quick little bang trim because that part can be the most cumbersome and annoying being right on your face. However, the rest of your hair, I have some great tips for managing it. Number one is making sure to blow dry your hair when you do it. Some people leave it in a towel, for example, for half an hour, then they take it out or they let it air dry and then expect to be able to poof it up and get some body. You're not going to get the body when it dried flat. So my motto is how the hair dries is how the hair stays. So you want to make sure that you dry it the right way using some sort of support product at the root area. I highly recommend if you're not using salon products, stick with gel because drugstore mousse I don't find is as effective as it should be. Of course, I love salon products. They're going to do better for you. Right down to the shampoo and conditioner. Because sometimes those are heavy and will weigh down the hair.
Well, and I'm guessing too with salon grade products, you're probably using a lot less than you would of a product that you'd find at a local drugstore. So even though sometimes the price point might be a little higher, you're getting a better quality product and you're using less of it. Would that be fair to say?
It is very fair to say. And the problem is a lot of people still just use it the same as they would their drugstore product. So if you are buying professional, you do need to know that it is more concentrated and you don't need as much. And when you're shampooing, you need lots of water in the hair to make it lather. So you really want to rinse it really, really well before the shampoo.
Okay, perfect. That's great to know. And I totally agree with you, about the blow drying and I've got a shorter haircut, so I'm in my 5.5 weeks, slowly creeping into where it's getting heavy and thicker. But I find if I use my brush and actually spend a little more time styling it with my blow dryer, I'm getting better results than if I just kind of, like you said, towel dry, let it go natural, and then try to do something with it.
Absolutely. As you said, if you're styling it as you go, as it sits when it's drying is how it wants to stay more so. So
Right.
getting it to dry the right way is a huge key. And I did notice yours might be a little long on the top and you've sort of parted it off, wearing it a little more offside, which is
Yeah.
a fabulous option when it's getting a bit too long. Change the way you style. For me, you can see my hair's up really high. Well, it also bends over when it gets too long. So I have to switch it up or I'm going to look like Fido Dido with hair,
Yeah.
way too big.
Well, I find that too because I have very thick hair and I can already feel how much more there is there. So I'm trying to figure out, I went exactly, parted a little more over, give me a little more flexibility with my style. And this is a great time. Maybe we have a little extra time on our hands to try out a new style that we don't have time when we're rushing to get to work in the morning. There's a lot of sources for that, like the internet or lots of videos.
There is. And another thing to keep in mind that I always tell people, even my students, we always try too hard. And if you don't try so hard, you usually get a lot better result. For example, I have my little mannequin here. If you were blow drying and you wanted body in her bangs, if you just put your hands inside and do a lot of mucking about as it dries, and then at the end, use your brush a little if you want to get some movement. You're going to find a lot better result to get it kind of mussing around while you're drying. You're going to get that body in there.
Isn't that the truth? Hey, when it's like anything, when you're really focused on it and trying super hard, it doesn't seem to go as well as when you don't. Or I always think to my hair, as soon as I make a hair appointment, it starts to behave itself. And then I'm like, it's like it knows it's going to get cut.
It is, yeah. Funny thing. I also just wanted to mention briefly too that I think they have it in most dollar stores. They have Velcro rollers. A lot of people don't know about Velcro rollers. You use them in dry hair, so you can manage putting them in because they stick in by themselves as long as you just take a little section, almost like you would with a curling iron or a round brush or something, and put it in the Velcro roller. On clean hair, it only needs to be in for about 10 minutes. You take them out, and you've got a beautiful bend in the hair, and it's going to give you a lot of body compared to a curling iron.
Oh, nice. And then that kind of saves your hair too, because you're not putting the heat on there. So, right now too, that's a bit of a concern going long term. Our ends may be getting dry. Do you have a couple tips for us on how to just treat our ends a little bit so that they're healthy longer?
So again, if you're using drugstore products, my tip might not be as good because if you've got a coating on the hair already, that does actually cause more damage and dryness to the hair. However, if you are using a good shampoo and conditioner, you can leave in a little bit of conditioner at the end of your service, especially for longer hair, right? Okay. You can take just a little dot, maybe the size of a pea, or if your hair is really long, a kernel of corn. Make sure your hands are a bit damp. Rub it really, really good. It's emulsifying the product, and you should have white, lathery sort of looking hands, not bubble lathers, but white, and just work it into the ends and leave it in, and it will be fine left into the ends. You don't want to put that at the scalp because that might make a little bit too much weight, but for the ends of the hair, it'll be no problem and give you that extra moisture and protection.
Yeah, and that's a really good point too, because that you mentioned, a lot of people, even when they're using rinse in the shower or the bath, they have a tendency to put it on the top of their heads rather than pulling it, all the way through, and then they get that heaviness right on top. So
you got it, and you don't need it there. You need it at the ends. That's right.
Perfect. Now, what about grays? I mean, a lot of us are showing our true colors these days, and who knows how long it's going to be. Do you have any tips for us about the grays?
I do. Of course, most of us are going to want to go and buy that box of color. And, I'm a really practical person. I don't tell people who are getting good results with their hair not to color it at home. If they're getting good results, I think it's silly for me to say, well, that's stupid because it's no good for you. It certainly is going to be better to use professional color. And if you really, really, really must use a color, I'm going to tell you to pick L'Oreal because it's the best drugstore color there is. Most of the other ones can cause you lots of grief, and they can cause your stylist a lot of grief when you come back. Also, you have to remember not to try to vary out of your color very far, because if you're going to try to do a lot, you're going to make a mess. Absolutely, for sure. But they do make a lot of salon products anyways, and everybody's got some sort of curbside delivery in their town, I'm sure. Have spray in color, so you can just spray at the root area, spray on your front hairline, you know, the rest kind of hides itself. So there is that. Those root touch-up kits, I've seen people use them. They sort of work, sort of not. And again, they can go kind of weird. So I don't necessarily recommend that. I'd rather see people get that spray on color.
Right. Okay. And you were talking about the drugstore one, and L'Oreal is the one that you kind of recommend. What are some of the reasons for people who don't know what, like you said, it creates a little more work for their stylist when they return to them? Tell us a little bit more about that. What kind of things what's happening to our hair when we use a store-bought product?
Certainly. Well, with any hair color, you're going into the inner layers of the hair and you're changing the color structure. So you're breaking down your own color molecules to smaller pieces, and then the new color attaches to those pieces. So smaller pieces, at least if you're going lighter. If you're staying the same, they sort of just attach on and don't necessarily break it up so much. But if you've got the wrong type of product, it doesn't always do the job the same way. So one of the things they talk about is metallic hair dyes. So they use metals to create colors. Those are apparently not on the market anymore. However, what I can tell you is there's a lot of colors that act the same way. They have horrible chemicals in them that cause weird reactions. So sometimes we can't change them after. You're stuck with whatever you get, and it's very hard to get rid of. It's also very hard to take out artificial color once it's already in there. To take it out and then start again is very tricky. It's color correction, it's expensive. So, you know, you're not going out in pageants and stuff right now. If you work, I get it, it's a little more serious, but if you're working, maybe you can afford to buy the spray and get through the right way. I like to think we're not going to be that long, that we're not all going to be okay.
Yes, and then soon you're going to be very, very busy, aren't you? Everybody's going to be in a mad dash to the hair salon. Right. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, do you have some recommendations for people with longer hair? I know I've had a few friends. I've even seen some of them who've put their hair into ponytails and chopped, or is just feeling like that weight is getting too much. Any recommendations for those guys?
Yeah, you know, again, it's always really tricky to actually tell somebody, yeah, you go ahead, cut your own hair.
Yeah.
Again, extenuating circumstances, right? So I didn't bring my long-haired mannequin here, but let me just see if I can just make do with my own head. So if I had long hair and I brought it all forward, right? Mm-hmm. And I just trimmed off the tips, when it went back to the back, the only thing that's going to happen is it's going to maybe have a bow in it, a little bit longer in the middle, because it had to travel here to be cut.
Right.
So, you know, to actually bring both sides down and just trim those ends, if your hair is really that damaged, you certainly could. A recommendation would be to try to have sharper scissors.
I was going to ask that.
That's never easy when you're at home. But again, not too much hair all at once either. Too much hair, you're going to be going and gnawing through it. So if you could do it in less at a time, you might do a little bit of a better job, but just don't do a lot, you know, just take off that little bit. And that might just get you through if you're really having that much trouble.
Yes. And then stop. Have a stopping point too.
That's a very good point. You know, when I'm going to show you the bang trim, that's something I always mention. Don't keep trying to fix it and go better, because you're going to get shorter, and then you're going to have a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just watching a show the other day, and that's exactly what happened to her. She's trimming her bangs, and and they're all cockeyed. Well, she gets like, this is all she's got left, and she goes to a job interview, and the guy's looking at her like, what happened? Exactly. And there's no coming back from that, or it takes a while anyways. So
time, exactly. Yeah.
And I guess that's sort of a point too, if something does go wrong, it does grow back, and most of us are at home, but we still are mindful of what's going on with our hair. So those are some really great tips. So you want to show us a little bit about a bang trimming tutorial? That'd be fantastic.
I do. And before I do that tutorial, I was going to say to try not to wash your hair every day. You're at home probably. I mean, if you're working, you want to do your regular type of routine to look good, of course. But if you have longer hair, you can also put it back on day 2. Put it up in a ponytail or whatever, a braid, anything. It's going to be a little less damaging to not wash it as often. So that's really helpful too. But yeah. I will turn my screen a little bit towards my mannequin to show you the best I can, I hope, for a little bang trim here.
Perfect.
All right. Can you see my little lady okay?
Bring her in a little closer.
I can, I think.
It'll be a little brighter. Yeah, I think that's good. Maybe this way a little or the other way. Other way. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay. I can see if I can let in a little more light over here.
Oh, yeah, that helps. Then we can see her face a lot more.
All right. Okay, so just super quick. Now, you can see that I just have a little V shape here. Really easy to do by combing your hair down and just kind of giving it a shake. And where it falls to the corner of the brow is where basically we'll find your bang area. You want to make sure not to be cutting into this side area right here.
Okay.
So just natural fall to the corner of the brow is what's going to fall into your eyeballs, right? And it usually comes into just a little V up here. So my recommendation is to use as fat of teeth as you can find in your home. The tighter the teeth, the more tension it's going to pull. Now you can see if I pull this down, it comes just a little bit above the tip of her nose. Okay. When we let it go, it's way up here. Mm-hmm. So this is what people do at home all the time that's wrong, is they pull it down here and cut it the length they want, and they're usually about an inch too short because the hair pops up, right? So what I recommend, very fat tooth comb. Try to get it kind of all into the comb. You can bring the edges in a little bit because it's better if they're a tiny bit longer anyway on the edge. If you can bring this down through to the end and kind of sit it a little longer than what you want, kind of deal, and you can let it bounce up like that. And then you can just bring your shears in and put gentle points. Just gentle little points. You never want to just go glunk because you'll never come back from that. It's going to look stupid, hang stupid, and you're not going to be happy. But you can see this is really very simple. It's just taking out some little tips, and then you let it go, and it bounces up. Now, this hair up here is too long and heavy. It needs a little bit of a layer. And again, that's another thing that a hairstylist can do that a student or a person at home usually can't. But I'm going to show you how. Just easy, lift it up, drag it back until these pop out. And then whatever you have left in your fingers, I'm going to try to let you see here, is just do the little points again and take off and layer it so that it has a little bit lighter feel.
Cool.
Okay.
So I love that you're going this way with your scissors, opposed to most of us are like going across and trying to do some kind of cut like that, or.
Absolutely. And that is because you're just going to get ugly, hard, horrible hair. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So any other final tips for us about ways that we can manage our hair?
Well, I don't think so. Again, I can't stress enough that, there is a lot of people in life that believe drugstore products are just as good. I'm promising you 100% they are not. It's like anything else in life, vitamins, clothes, it doesn't really matter. Usually if you're paying more, if it's not just for the name, you're paying for better quality, right? And that's going to be the same thing in your hair products. And used properly, not wasted, you are, I promise, not going to spend much more money than what you already do. The only people I can never compete with is people who buy their stuff at the dollar store. I really can't compete with the dollar store price. But you don't know what's in that bottle at the dollar store. I can tell you sometimes it's older than the hills and isn't good anymore. So it's not a good option.
Right.
So try to get some curbside product and watch a few videos. As you see, there's lots of good stuff on there. There's some not so good, but
Yeah.
also if you're gonna iron, use a heat protector too. It makes a difference.
Excellent. Okay, Donna, people can find you at your website for Systems Beauty College. If they have any questions, can they email you or send you a message?
Yeah,
Excellent.
you can. There is a contact form on systemsbeautycollege.ca, but systems@hotmail.ca is the my website. There's Facebook page. So anything, absolutely feel free to message. I'm happy to help.
Excellent. Well, that was very informative today, Donna. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for sharing these tips to help us deal with our self-isolation hairdo that's starting to get to us, so that we, you know, like that little picture I had before here, I think I'm going to finish my wine and then cut my bangs so we don't get any crazy ideas and go hog wild with our hair. But
Exactly.
yeah, those are some great tips. And like you said, too, hopefully sooner than later, we will be able to be back with our stylists and getting a nice fresh haircut. And you know what? That's going to feel fantastic when that time does come. So
You bet. Thank you very much as well, Carla. It's been a great time.
yeah, excellent. We will talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.